Hey everyone, Vitaly is here. Estate planning is far from being a pleasant topic to talk about. I admit this and totally get it. No one wants to even think, yet alone talk about being incapacitated or terminally ill. Take some of my clients, for example. Every time I bring this topic up, I can see and sense how annoyed they become and want to switch the conversation. But we all need to understand that this is part of life, and in many ways there are situations that are beyond our control. And this is exactly why you need to plan now for whatever unfortunate situations can be. Because if you don't, the cost of inaction can be dangerously high. Last week I talked about a living will, a legal document that states your medical treatment wishes when you can't speak for yourself. Having a living will provides your doctors with a clear plan of action on what kind of medical care or treatment they need to provide. But what is even more important is that a living will takes the burden and pain of making medical decisions about your health off the shoulders of your family and your loved ones. However, as I briefly mentioned last week, a living will alone isn't the perfect end-of-life planning document. It is limited in scope, and if drafted without sufficient details, your doctors can be left with a great amount of discretion when it comes to your medical treatment. In this video, I will be talking about a healthcare proxy, another essential estate planning document that, when it is combined with a living will, can make the end-of-life planning more controllable and fully aligned with your wishes and best interests. So without further delay, let's get started. A healthcare proxy, also known as a durable medical power of attorney, is a legal document in which you name someone to act as your proxy or a healthcare agent and grant authority to make healthcare decisions for you if you are unable to speak for yourself. Unlike a living will, which is the document where you stated your wishes regarding your medical treatments, with a healthcare proxy you can have a real person acting on your behalf and in your best interests. When it comes to healthcare proxies, each state has its own laws and regulations. For example, a healthcare proxy could be a standalone document or a part of several documents combined into what's called an advance directive. So before you adopt one, you need to be absolutely clear of your state's laws and requirements. This is when an estate planning attorney can be of great help. As with living wills, doctors and other medical care providers need to determine first whether you have the capacity to make your own medical treatment decisions. If they determine that you cannot, only then can your healthcare agent provide instructions concerning your medical treatment. Doctors and healthcare providers must abide by your agent's decisions. A healthcare proxy can be changed at any time. Like any other estate document, you need to periodically update it, as your healthcare wishes and attitudes most likely will change over time. Also, you may need to update your healthcare proxy when you move to another state. Just make sure to check the laws of the new state to see if the amendments are needed. To appoint your healthcare agent, you don't have to wait until you get terminally ill. Quite the opposite. You need to appoint an agent while you are of sound mind and memory. Clearly, your healthcare agent should be someone who you really trust. A person who you literally would trust with your life. Such a person is usually your spouse, a sibling, an adult child, or a longtime friend. Before you name such a person, it is extremely important to notify that person of your intention to name him or her as your healthcare agent. Given the level of personal responsibility that person assumes, not everyone is willing to accept such honor. That's why you need to: number 1, read your living will and address any questions and blind spots. Number 2, review your medical care treatment wishes, such as when in a terminal condition, in a permanent unconscious state, or in a vegetative state. Number 3, discuss religious beliefs of your agent and be sure that nothing prevents him or her from carrying out your wishes. And number 4, address your medical preferences when it comes to certain doctors and healthcare institutions. Only one healthcare agent can act at a time. However, you can also designate a backup healthcare agent who will take over in the event the primary agent isn't available. Living wills and healthcare proxies have many things in common, and they usually work in unison. Both documents pursue one goal: to make sure that medical treatments you receive when incapacitated are aligned with your wishes. But despite the commonalities, a healthcare proxy is a much more flexible document. In the end, you have a real person that represents your best interests and acts in your behalf. However, you also need to be aware of certain limitations of healthcare proxies. One such limitation is that your doctors will always look at your living will first. In other words, your healthcare agent cannot override provisions of a living will. For example, there might be a new treatment or medical procedure discovered that could have improved the course of your treatment and put you back on feet. If your living will didn't say anything about new medical treatment, your doctors would need to follow the instructions of the living will, and you may not be able to receive the necessary, potentially life-saving treatment. With the healthcare proxy in place, your healthcare agent also wouldn't be able to force your doctor to try a new treatment. But the agent will be able to complement your wishes if something comes up that no one could have anticipated. In summary, your living will is an official statement of your medical wishes, and it supersedes your healthcare proxy. As such, the language you use should be very detailed without any ground for confusion or misinterpretation. Of course, no one knows what kind of treatment will be available in the future, but what you can do is at least include wording that you are not opposed to it. And once again, make sure to review and periodically update your both documents. Creating a healthcare proxy isn't as hard as many people believe. Firstly, most states require you to be 18 years old and be of sound mind. Secondly, you need to decide on the person who you would want to name as your healthcare agent. Thirdly, you need to create the document itself. You can easily draft the healthcare proxy with the help of estate planning software, utilizing the service of an estate planning attorney, or you can download your state's advanced directive and fill it out. The link will be in the description below. A healthcare proxy, along with the living will, is an extremely important end-of-life planning document that gives you more control over what kind of medical treatments you wish to receive when you are unable to speak for yourself. By designating someone who you trust as your healthcare agent, you can be highly assured that your medical wishes will be carried out. In addition to that, your family will know your wishes too, and they will not have to make tough decisions about your health. This, in turn, can protect your family from unnecessary disputes and legal battles and preserve your estate from high costs of intensive care. Alright, that's it guys. If you liked my video, please hit the like button down below and subscribe to my channel. Also, if you have any questions for me, please feel free to reach out. Thanks, and I'll see you on the next one.